Welcome back to Equity TV. I'm Francis Mayer, and this week we're talking about what I like to call the myth of athletics and education. There are a lot of folks, and I was one of them at one point, who believed that athletics were more important than education, and that I was going to have that same body I had at 21 for the rest of my life. Well, at 37 years old, I can tell you that a lot has changed, and I definitely value my education more than my athletic career at this point. Those are some stories that I still have, but frankly, they aren't putting me in a place to make money and provide for my family, and we have a guest with us right now who can speak to the same. Jeremy Staat, you went from BC, and then you went to Arizona State, and you were about to quit football, as you were telling us in the last segment, and Coach Bowser got you to stick around, and then you went and you played at Arizona State, and you had some epic experiences there, and then the NFL comes a-knocking, and tell us about draft day, and also about your state of mind, about why it wasn't so important for you to get your degree at Arizona State, even though it was for free.
Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. You know, it's funny because that spring semester is still the most haunting semester that I have in my athletic or my educational career, because I'm still fighting it. I'm still having to make right what I did wrong almost, 20 years ago now, it seems like. But yeah, the NFL came calling. I was in my spring semester of ASU. I was actually still throwing. I still wanted to be a track and field competitor, and I knew that I was going to be a high draft pick. I was slotted to go either the first or second round, which at that time, a second round draft pick was, surely to sign probably a $1 million to $2 million deal, which doesn't sound a lot today, but back then it was big money. First rounder, obviously would have been a multiple $1 million contract. But so I kind of started to.
And as you said, your family didn't have a ton of means.
No, we didn't. I mean, we didn't have money.
You didn't have a money tree in the backyard.
No, my mom had to work 2 jobs to put me through Bakersfield College. She worked she worked her regular job, and at night she had to work at the supermarket to, make ends meet to help us, put me through Bakersfield College. Luckily, I did have a scholarship through the Welding scholarship that covered basically the cost of my books at BC. But we didn't have a lot of money. Athletics was what was supposed to get me to the next level, and it did. But the problem is that when I was done with athletics, that's where my education really had to come in. But so my last semester at ASU back in 1998, I just decided that, I've got this $1 million contract. Why do I need my education? And so I just stopped going to class.
Oh, wow.
Just flat out stopped going to class. And till this day, it still haunts me, because I wound up taking, I believe it was 5 Fs, straight 5 Fs. So it dropped my GPA down to like a 1.6.
Oh, wow.
It just crushed my GPA. And I've had to fight with that and deal with that. I made my life 10 times harder as far as academics is concerned, because I had to go back and continually fight that GPA to get back into school in order to finish my degree. Of course, I was always on academic probation. I think I finally got over academic probation after I got my bachelor's degree.
And we're going to get this timetable straight for people. So you find out, and your family finds out, that you are going to the NFL, no doubt. You are going to be getting a phone call on the first day of the draft. And it's going to be a phone call that's going to change your life.
Oh, absolutely. There was no doubt in our minds that, there was going to be a phone call. I didn't know where I was going to go. There was 32 teams at that time. I didn't know where I was going to go, but I knew I was going to get drafted. And so, like I said, academics definitely took a back seat at that point. But today, I can't say I regret it, but if I had done things differently back then, I don't know where I'd be here. I don't know where I'd be at today, but I definitely made a bad choice then not to get my academics, my degree.
Because people say, I'm going to be getting paid, but nothing's guaranteed in the NFL, is it, Jeremy?
Oh, absolutely not. The NFL stands for, it's not the National Football League. It stands for not for long, because, the average career in the NFL is 3.5 years.
And how long do you have to play to get a pension? And a pension is basically a retirement plan.
Absolutely. That's 4 years. You have to have 4 credited seasons. Well, the average career in the NFL is 3.5. So a lot of guys will make it in the NFL, but most of them don't receive the retirement.
And what happens to those guys? Because when you first got to Pittsburgh and when you first got that big contract, and we were talking about your bonus check, I believe it was, right?
Signing bonus.
And you thought it was going to be for $750,000.
Yeah, it was actually supposed to be a $704,000 signing bonus, and I actually still have the paycheck stub today to keep as a reminder. I think, $704,000, hey, almost $750,000. I'm good to go. I've got money. Well, when I got the check, it was, it was shy about 43 or 44% of that
Why
704,000.
was that?
Taxes, 39% right off the top. 39% went to federal, then another 11% went to state, and then I had to pay another 1 to 4% on top of that to my agent, for his fees. So, you're looking at a lot of money just right. I mean, I think it was closer to 60% of that money was gone.
So you then maybe had less than 300,000 bucks.
I think it was like 350, maybe 340.
So when people talk about buying mom a house and buying mom a Mercedes, that's pretty much all you could have done.
Oh,
Really.
absolutely. You buy one car, you buy one house, you're looking at maybe 150,000 in the bank, and that's it. And then you got to make sure that you're in the league long enough to pay those things off, because if you're not, the next thing you know, you're writing checks out of your bank account that are taken away from your cash, that, if you don't have anything coming in as far as a job, that money just goes out and it goes quick. You think even if it's $5,000 a month and you don't have anything coming in to replace that, that's $60,000 a year cash. Money goes quick. Okay.
And did you notice, like, old friends and people in Bakersfield? Obviously, everybody could open the newspaper and see exactly how much money you were making. Did people hit you up?
Absolutely.
Was there that feeling?
Absolutely. When you come into town, your old friends, I think, oh, well, hey, we'll go here and we'll go eat at this restaurant and Jeremy's buying. And, it got to the point where, especially in those days, I was running the clubs, doing a lot of things like that. And everybody's expecting me to cover their bar tab, their food, and everything else. But it's just, now looking back, I'm going, wow. If I would have done some things different, I didn't really blow the money. I actually invested a lot of the money. But when you got companies like Enron and criminals who are doing, mysterious acts like that, I watched $80,000 go like that within about, I think it was 7 days. It went from something like, I don't know, $7 a share down to like 15 cents in 7 days. And there was nothing I could do about it.
Right. And again, you weren't a business major, I don't think.
Absolutely not.
You weren't a finance guy. So you're just trusting that the people that you hire are going to do right by you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're in the NFL, and I'm wondering, are the locker room floors paved with gold?
Absolutely not. You know what? The biggest thing when I got drafted, second round draft pick, 41st pick overall, you're going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jeremy Staat. How do you feel? Great. I'm excited. When I got there and I got my first jock strap, and there was like 6 numbers in there that were crossed out.
Knowing that I was dirty.
Knowing I was getting a used jock strap from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
From the Pittsburgh
Steelers. At that time, they were worth like $1 billion, the organization. But they would actually take sleeves. Like if a guy cut off his sleeves, they would actually go find those sleeves and actually resew them back on the shirt and give it to somebody else, because it's a business. The NFL is business. A lot of people don't understand that these are multi-billion-dollar businesses. They're there to basically make money off the backs of other people.
Not to make you rich.
Not to make us rich. And you look at the salary cap, as a professional athlete in the NFL, I think it's $80 million as a salary cap. That's a lot of money. But when the NFL and the 32 teams are profiting something like $700 billion a year, it's nothing. It's chump change. And so a lot of these guys need to realize that, we're just manual labor to the NFL and their owners. That's all we are. We're just manual labor. If you look at it, we're out there running around, lifting weights on the field. It's manual labor. And at the end of the day, those things can be cut short by one play, one career-ending play. And what are you going to do after that? You can't rely on these things.
And what did you do? Because, Jeremy, you actually got in under the wire. You did get your pension time, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got my 4 years.
But you can't start drawing on that until...
Absolutely not. The biggest thing that I realized with all these accolades that I have, Pac-10 Defensive Lineman of the Year, All-American, all these different things. I have this literally a trophy case full of all this hardware, but I realized that trophy case is only good for one thing, and that's for collecting dust. It's really saddening to say. I mean, like I said, I'm the only track and field athlete in the history of junior college track and field to have 3 different wins at a state competition. I think I was back-to-back state champions. I actually won the hammer, the shot put, and the discus.
How much did that make you last year?
Nothing.
How much
I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, how much did that food put? How much food?
It didn't put any.
In your child's
It didn't
belly?
put any. Nothing.
And so after all these accomplishments in athletics, and like you said, if trophies got you dollars, you'd be a very wealthy man. But you get out of the league.
Yeah.
And you don't have a bachelor's degree.
Nope.
Your resume is full of things like stopping the run.
Oh, yeah.
Pressuring the quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Sacks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not handling cash.
Pac-10 sack leader of the year, yada, all these crazy cool things. But, yeah, it looks great, if that's what you really want to model your life after. But, the biggest heartache that I ever had, learning where I went wrong without that education was, when I went and applied for a job.
Where?
at Home Depot.
How did that go, Jeremy? Tell our athletes.
It was, well, I'm still not at Home Depot, but like I said, I was here. Jeremy Staat is retired out of the NFL, second round draft pick, all these accolades, all this stuff, if you will. Like I said, I'm proud of those accomplishments, but they didn't give me
You have a lot of life left.
yeah, they don't earn you money, at that level or after you're done in a professional athletics. So anyways, I go to Home Depot. I love Home Depot. I love working with my hands. I started out in industry when I was like 11 years old, digging ditches and laying concrete and stuff like that. I did that as a workout in the off season, if you will. But, I go to Home Depot. I'm excited. Hey, I love Home Depot. I'm going to come here and work. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to work my way up to the top. And, I'm going to make all that money, blah, blah, blah. Well, I get there. My interview literally was about 3.5 minutes. Literally three. I mean, here's this resume. I mean, it's got all this stuff: Arizona State, Rose Bowl, all that kind of garbage. AS or AA degree from Bakersfield College in criminal justice, all the good stuff. And it literally lasted about 3.5 minutes. I think the first minute and a half was talking about NFL football, and then the guy he looked at me, he goes, Jeremy, I would love to hire you, but I can't. He goes, you made too much money in the NFL, so I can't put you on the floor stocking shelves and owning your own little section of the store. And because you don't have your bachelor's degree, I can't give you a management job. It was just like that. Boom, you're done, out. And it was probably one of the toughest, hardest hits that I ever took.
Because you went from up here,
Yeah.
being a guy who was on the news, people are begging to talk to you, your buddies want him to take him out to the best restaurant in town, and now you can't get an hourly job at Home Depot.
Absolutely. They would not give me a job at Home Depot stocking shelves. They said I was overqualified to be on the floor, and I didn't have my bachelor's degree, so they couldn't give me a management job.
Now, you had a lot of adventure and that's a whole nother show, unfortunately. But long story short, Pat Tillman was unfortunately killed overseas. You spent some time with him at Arizona State. You went into the military, and ultimately, all roads have led back to Bakersfield College for you, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the greatest things. I mean, I enjoy waking up every day knowing that I'm going to go and influence and help the next generation of students, by being an instructor at Bakersfield College, and I'm still working on my education. Actually, I went to the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps in 2005, and one of the things that really hit home with me is that I was being a hypocrite to my Marines. I'm telling my Marines, hey, Marine, when you get out of the Marine Corps, you go back and you get your education. You get your education. You get your education. And here I'm going, you don't even have yours, you hypocrite. And so actually what I did my last year in the Marine Corps, I actually went back to school through Arizona State University. I used my GI Bill, and I actually finished up my bachelor's degree from Arizona State University in liberal studies. But hey, you know what? It's a degree. It's a degree. And I got it done. And like I said, that was one of the biggest accomplishments in my life. That's the one thing I hold higher on my wall of trophies is my degree over all my...
But you have a young baby now that you can provide for. You're married. You own a home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's the only thing that's paid. Like I said, I can't bring my trophy case into a job interview and say, hey, give me a job. I'll work. I'll do these things. But, just by, other thing too, having that degree just gave me, it added value to who I am with my work ethics and the things that I have that accomplished that I used to become a great professional athlete. That degree actually just kind of nullified and validated all that stuff.
Well, Jeremy, we want to thank you so much for being on the show. And as you pointed out, it took you 2 tries. It took you more than 2 tries, but you got the degree, and now you're set, and you're still on the road. We love having you at BC, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Coming up next, we have some words from athletes who are currently at BC. Plus, we're going to check in with Coach Reggie Bolton. But here's the thing, folks. Staat had 2 chances. You might only have 1. Take advantage of it. Equity TV will be right back.